Market Fatafat on ET Now, a show where we discuss all the stocks that are buzzing in trade, either based on news or technicals. But let's get going then. Mutual funds check into the likes of Adani Energy, Info Edge and Eternal in the month of August, while selling Avenue Supermarts, Siemens Energy and Adani Enterprises. What was the action like across categories? My colleague Sharad Dubey is now joining us with all those details. Sharad?
Well, action-packed month when it comes to the month of August, and let's look at the large cap buys from Adani Group. Adani Energy has been seeing a significant buying across mutual fund houses. Also making it to the list is Info Edge, new age tech company Eternal, which has seen a strong rally also in the month of August, followed by PSU banking space candidate Union Bank of India and consumer durable company Havells. Large cap sells, this includes Avenue Supermart, and also Siemens Energies, both the arms of Siemens as well as Siemens Energy. That's where we are seeing selling happening. But from the other group of Adani Enterprise and Adani Green Energy, also the mutual funds houses have trimmed their stakes. If you look at the mid-cap buys, this includes Tata Communications and Paytm, another new age tech company where we saw significant buying coming in from the domestic fund houses. From the capital goods space, we are having Thermax, followed by IDBI Bank and defense space favorite Bharat Dynamics, which is also jumping in the trade today. Mid-cap sells, these include Tata Elxsi, Hitachi Energy, Central Bank of India, and also retail favorite Vodafone Idea, where we saw significant downtake coming in from the domestic mutual fund houses. Apart from large cap and mid cap, let's look at where the action is there in the small cap space. Small cap key buys, they include stocks such as Suben Life Science, Tirumalai Chemicals and Samman Capital also. A lot of corporate actions coming in this counter, apart from which EPAC Durable, which is like a proxy to an EMS play, and Clean Science and Technology as well, where we saw significant additions coming from the domestic fund houses. If you look at the sells, this includes Sarda Energy, ABFRL, that's a surprise name, a large quantity of chunk being sold off. Apart from this, from the pharma space, we are having Granules India, Protein eGov and Delta Corp also making it to the list.
All right, moving on then from the mutual fund action to an exclusive. The finance minister is meeting the PSU bank heads chaired by DFS secretary. Slew of things are on the agenda for this two-day meeting. My colleague Prakash is joining in with the details.
The finance minister's meeting with PSBs is underway for a comprehensive review. In fact, the DFS secretary is chairing a two-day PSB's marathon on the next set of banking reforms, a very significant development. In fact, the meeting is seeing participation from Chief Economic Advisor, Mr. Anant Nageshwaran, heads of public sector banks, the RBI Deputy Governor and Ministry officials. Various theme-based sessions and panel discussions have been planned. So far, discussions have been held on transforming Indian PSBs for global leadership and on the strategic roadmap of public sector banks. Along with that, the sources are indicating that the next generation PSB reforms likely to be discussed. Impact of various reform measures may be assessed, where use of AI governance, assist quality and customer experience are also on the agenda. A wide range of discussions will take place on AI-powered banks of the future, where discussions likely to include modernizing PSBs and building globally competitive PSB for Viksit Bharat 2047. This meeting is very crucial in current scenario where Indian economy needs innovative and new funding mechanisms to meet future demand, and the role of PSBs will be very crucial.
Prakash, thanks so much for joining us with all those details. But let's get going with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. And on the technical side, we are now joined by Rajesh Bhosale, technical analyst at Angel One, and from the research desk, Kanishka and Rabinder are still with us. Rajesh, from the auto sector, a sector that has been buzzing over the last several trading sessions after the GST rate cut announcement that came in, Tata Motors, on the technicals, on the charts, where do you see the stock headed?
So we are seeing an interesting observation on Tata Motors. After last 1 year, prices are trading about 200 DMA for the first time, and likely first time we are likely to see a weekly closing. Also on the daily chart, we are seeing a rounding bottom formation and also a unique pattern, rising three-method candlestick pattern. So we expect positive momentum to extend in the coming weeks. Possibly the stock can head towards the levels of 740 to 750. On the downside, if we see above the breakout levels around 700 are likely to act as a strong support zone.
700 will be a strong support zone. That's the word coming in on Tata Motors. But let's also put the spotlight on Canara Bank and some positive news coming in for the bank, where company says that Canara Robeco AMC, which is company's subsidiary, has received final observations from BSE and SEBI to file its red herring prospectus or RHP. So perhaps this particular subsidiary of Canara Bank, Canara Robeco AMC, could get listed on the bourses over the next few quarters. Now remember, this has been an overhang for the stock for quite some time now, and finally this approval has come in from SEBI, and hence the stock, as you can see, it has given up all of those morning gains, but despite that, in focus on the back of this news piece.
All right, moving on then to the next counter that is in focus today, and that is Cohance Life Sciences. Now, US FDA has completed a general current GPM audit at the API manufacturing facility in Jagayapet, Andhra Pradesh, and the inspection was conducted from September 8th to September 11th and concluded with 0 Form 483 observations. On the back of this US FDA inspection, Cohance Life Sciences in focus today. It has recovered from the day's lowest point, but nonetheless in the red, trading with cuts of 0.8%.
And let's also put the spotlight on JSW Energy then. Rabinder, some news flow over here. What is that and how is the stock reacting to that?
Well, as JSW Energy is in focus, the company has commissioned the announced the commission of renewable energy capacity of 317 megawatt during the month of August 2025, taking the installed capacity to 13,097 megawatt. And the capacity addition is well diversified across generation sources, with hydro comprising of 240 megawatt wind at 240 megawatt and wind at 43 megawatt, and solar at 34 megawatt, and the share of renewables in the overall capacity increased to 57%, constituting of wind capacity of 3,617 megawatt, solar capacity at 2,192 megawatt, and hydro capacity at 1,631 megawatt. And this capacity addition is timely in nature and will enable the companies to benefit from the peak renewable generation season during the year, and will contribute meaningfully to the overall renewable output. So back of this positive news flow, JSW Energy is in focus and the stock is up more than 1%.
All right, Rajesh, you picked out a LT for us. Tell us, what do you see on the charts for L&T?
So if you see during the FAG end of July month, post the results, there was a strong gap up opening, and post then the stock has done not much. It has been consolidating, but now we are seeing that prices are holding on to that bullish gap and towards to the 200 DMA. Today the stock is up around 1%, and we are seeing a positive candlestick formation. So some kind of higher bottom structure is visible on the daily chart, and we expect that the upward trend is likely to resume. Possibly 3700 is what we are expecting in the near term, and the bullish gap and 200 DMA left around 3500 is likely to act as a strong support.
Okay, so that's L&T for you. 3,500 could act as a strong support. That's the technical view coming in. But let's also put the spotlight on some railway and railway ancillary stocks. And Railtail, Kanishka, some big order wins coming their way, isn't it?
Absolutely. So Railtail, as you said, there have been order wins. 2 major orders is what the company has backed. It has backed 70 crores worth of contract from Nashik Municipal Smart City Development. And now this project is to be completed by December 31st, 2026. It involves selecting an implementation agency for supply laying, installation, testing and commissioning of the Nashik and Tribankeshwar city network backbone, along with operations and maintenance services. Apart from this, it has also received a 32 crore rupees order from Panvel Municipal Corporation. This contract is scheduled to be completed by March 19th of 2031. It covers supply, installation and services for providing connectivity at various locations under the Panvel Safe City project. So that's the reason why both of these, why Railtail is in focus, trading more than 2% higher.
All right, with that, it's time for a quick breather. Don't go anywhere after the break. We'll get you more buzzes on the other side. Stay tuned.
To Markets Fatafat right here on ET now, and Nifty is now holding up with gains of nearly 111 points as we speak to trade near that 25,120 mark. We have Nifty Bank, which is also holding up with gains of nearly 130 odd points. But Rajesh, Lupin, that's the stock that you've picked for us from the pharmaceutical pack. Basis the charts, where do you see the stock headed? The stock currently is trading at about 2,040 odd levels. It's holding up with gains of nearly 2.5% today.
Yes, so if we see the chart, it has been consolidating for the last 3-4 months, and finally a range breakout is visible. In fact, the RSI is also crossing its significant high levels, and on the daily chart, prices are crossing 200 DMA. So we expect the positive momentum to continue in the coming weeks. Possibly 2150 is what we are expecting, and the bullish gap and the breakout zone around 2000 are likely to act as a strong support in case of any dip in the coming week.
All right, that's Lupin on the charts. Let's move on to the next set of stocks that is in focus, and those are solar stocks. Vikram Solar, Vari Energy, Tata Power, all of them are in focus on the back of the commentary coming in from the Energy Minister. We feel that India's targets Swadeshi solar cells by 2028. We're moving towards indigenous wafers and ingots. Government is to ensure that the entire solar manufacturing ecosystem is established within India, and India has crossed 251.5 gigawatts non-fossil capacity. We've also achieved over half of 2030 target of 500 gigawatts, and the second phase of PM Kusum to be launched after March 2026. On the back of this, all these solar stocks are in focus today: Vikram Solar, Vari Energies, and Tata Power.
Okay, so all of these solar stocks continue to remain in focus, but shifting focus back to the real estate sector then. Lodha, Rabinder, what is the news here?
Well, yes, Lodha Developers is in focus where Maharashtra government and Lodha Developers has signed a MOU of rupees 30,000 crore for Green Integrated Data Center Park, and a year after the Maharashtra government approved the Green Integrated Data Parks in MMR region, it has signed a MOU with Lodha Developers for setting up a data center in Palava, and under this policy, the data centers which are significant consumer of electricity will be powered by green and alternative energy sources, and to begin with 3 parks will be set up under this program in the MMR region, and the MOU outlines the total proposed investment will be 30,000 crore and will create 6,000 direct and indirect jobs, and the park with a planned capacity of 2 gigawatts is designed to host multiple leading international and domestic players. Combined investment of over rupees 30,000 crore are anticipated from the Lodha and various data center players in this park. So back of this, Lodha Developers is in focus, though the news is positive, but the stock is down more than 1%.
All right, that's Lodha in focus in the back of that news flow. But Rajesh, let me come to you. LTI Mindtree is what you picked out from us. Tell us what you see on the charts for LTI and Mindtree here.
This week has been, the IT has been in burst, but if we compare the heavyweight, this counter to the heavyweight have been bouncing from its recent lows, but on the daily chart of LTI Mindtree, we are seeing a higher bottom structure. In fact, it is sustaining about 200 DMA, and a bullish crossover is witnessed between 50 and 89 exponential moving average. Also, we expect this counter to continue its outperformance from the IT basket, and in the near term, possibly it can retest its previous swing high somewhere around 5600, and on the lower side we are seeing a base formation happening around 5100 levels.
5,100, that's where the base formation is happening for LTI Mindtree. But meanwhile, Kanishka, you've also picked up a few other stocks for us, Bharat Forge in particular. What is the news here?
That's right. So Bharat Forge has signed a 2-year MOU with UK-based Wind Racers to enhance UAV capabilities in India. Now, this collaboration will deploy and localize Wind Racers' ultra drones known for their strong payload and resilience in tough terrains. This includes high altitude and maritime zones as well. Now, this deal aims at technology transfer, joint trials, and eventual large-scale deployment in India. This partnership also fits into India's India-UK 2035 and FTA roadmap that would boost defense innovation and indigenous aerospace capacity. And hence, on the back of this collaboration, Bharat Forge is in focus today, holding up nearly 1% as we speak.
Right, moving on from Bharat Forge, that's in focus, to the next counter, VRL Logistics. Ravinder, tell us, there's a brokerage note here. What does the brokerage note say?
Well, sir, VRL Logistics is in focus, where Motilal Oswal has come out with a note on VRL Logistics, and they have maintained their buy rating with target price of rupees 350. They say that the company's focus on profitable growth ahead, and the recent reduction in the GST to support the company's volume and realization are expected to remain stable. But in FY26, volume growth are likely to remain flattish year-on-year basis. But in FY26, the company is poised for the 7 to 8% volume growth, and the company has earlier guided for 80 to 100 new branches annually. But actual addition in FY26 are likely to be lower as the focus remain on price stabilization and profitability-led expansion. And the board has approved salary revision for employees with effect from August 25. This will hurt the overall profitability to the tune of approximately 2 to 3% of the revenue, and VRL Logistics will continue to focus on maintaining high margins despite a slowdown in the volume growth, and the recent GST cuts across commodities should help decline some of the volume growth in the near term, but they expect the company to clock the volume growth, good volume growth. So back of this, VRL Logistics is in focus, and the stock is up more than 3%.
Okay, so VRL Logistics holding up with gains of nearly 3% on the back of that Motilal Oswal report. But let's also talk about ONGC and Oil India, because Antique has come out with a report and they continue to remain very bullish on both of these counters. In fact, they say India upstream remains a great value proposition versus some of its global peers. ONGC and Oil India in particular in focus on the back of this. They are reiterating their buy stance on ONGC with a revised target price of 310 versus 295 earlier, and for Oil India also they are maintaining their buy stance with an unchanged target price at 520 rupees per share. They say India upstream companies continue to trade at a steep discount as compared to global peers, both on asset quality as well as far as cash flow metrics is concerned, and this is largely due to regulated pricing and legacy field maturity with peak production growth. They believe that these concerns are not relevant anymore, and hence their outlook on both these companies continues to remain very positive. Both of them holding on to marginal gains. Oil India for you up 1.3% as we speak.
All right, moving on to the next counter. Rajesh, you picked out HFCL for us. On the charts, what do you see this counter? In fact, today itself is up and away almost 4% to 3.8% is the gains that is coming in. Do you see a breakout here? Because the stock has been consolidating for a while.
Yes, the stock has been consolidating, and in fact it's been trading around its multi-month swing low, and today we are seeing a strong surge in volume and a range breakout is witnessed. Also on the RSI front, if you see, there has been a positive divergence in oversold zone, so we expect some kind of base formation in this counter, and in the near term, in the coming week, there can be a strong bounce towards the levels of 80. On the downside, if we see there is a strong base happening somewhere around 69 to 70 levels.
HFCL for you. Ravinder, Kanishka, thanks so much, Rajesh, for joining us with all those details. But that's all the time we have on this edition of Market Fatafat. Thanks so much for tuning in. Closing trades coming up next.